This may be the most important video that you watch this year if you're trying to build an SMMA, start a consulting business, or run some sort of freelance business. And the reason why is I'm going to teach you how to actually book calls. I'm going to show you conversations of where I've taken a person from a complete stranger and got them to book a call with me. I used to run a LinkedIn agency and I've booked thousands of calls and sent tens of thousands of messages. And some of these scripts that you're going to see are when I was getting calls booked consistently, and I'll show you exactly the psychology of what I was doing to make that happen. You by now have probably taken 5 or 10 courses and paid a bunch of gurus loads of money who are promising that you can make your first 10K in a month. And it's probably not worked for you for 2 reasons. One, they're telling you all about mindset rather than how to actually communicate and send DMs properly. 2, they probably haven't done it themselves and they're just feeding you a load of things so they can sell their course. So if you can stay on this video for the next 5 minutes and really take in what I'm trying to say. I mean, the most important thing that you could be doing is pausing the video, implementing, using the exact scripts that I'm saying, and sending it out to people as you're watching along. You can read 10,000 books, but the books that you're going to get the most knowledge out of is the one which you're going to take action on, right? So keep that principle in your mind. Secondly, as well, if you can resist clicking off this video for the next 5 minutes, resist the urge to go over to TikTok to watch women twerk and Top G Tate shout at you, you might actually learn something. The answers are literally all here. The scripts are all here. This is battle tested. It's been done again and again and again. Please watch it. Please take action on it because this will help you, I promise you. Let's get straight into it. Welcome everybody to this module where I do conversation breakdowns, and this is where I take a stranger who I've never met before or chatted to and actually convert them into a call. And I'm going to show you some successful conversations where I've done that. I'm going to show you exactly what I was thinking, why I said the things I said, and some of the background psychology which is going on there as well. For the sake of people's privacy, I have blanked out their names and also blanked out their profile pictures as well. But I want to just walk through with this and give you a good insight of end to end of what's going on here. Now, you're going to see 2 examples next, and both of these examples are more easier examples. The people are well engaged, and I've basically just converted them completely to a call. And the reason why I want to show you the examples where the person's engaged is because these are the people really you want to aim for. These are the best types of people. They're well engaged, they're very responsive, and you can easily move the conversation onto a call. It is possible to get the tougher people onto a call, such as people who might be objecting, such as people who are giving a one-word answer, but these are generally the people who will be predominantly the amount of people on your call list. So I'm going to walk through this one with Andrew here and show you exactly what's going on. All right, so my first message to Andrew is actually a first initial message. I've connected with him. So I said, "Hi, Andy, thanks for connecting and nice to meet you. I just noticed that you're an executive/career coach. Just curious, what does that involve? Who is it you help? Rob." Right, so the only purpose of the first initial message is to start a conversation with people. And I see so many people make mistakes on this part of the message here. Okay, they will either go in with a Calendly request. They will either introduce themselves and start positioning towards a pitch straight away. Start asking them what their goals are. Nobody's going to want to tell you that if, it's the first time you spoke to them. Picture, girls and guys who are on this call, picture you are in a bar and you see somebody who potentially could be a date, and you go up to them and you start talking to them. People don't just say yes to, let's get married, right? Let's hop in bed together. They don't just say yes straight away to that. You need to warm people up, even if they like you. I want to pause there and re-emphasize that point and tell you a little story. So I said, even if a person likes you, you still need to warm them up. And what I mean by that is, even if a person's open to business, you don't give off any red flags when you go up to them. You just be a normal person, right? And I like to give dating analogies because a lot of things run in parallel between dating and business. It's because it's still dealing with people, right? And a lot of the same principles apply. Years ago, every Saturday night, we used to go out and have this giant social group filled with guys and girls, and we all used to go out together and we all used to have a great time together, right? And one of the girls in my group used to really, really like this guy who was in this other group who also used to go out every single Saturday night. And they both used to give each other eye contact across the room, but they'd never spoken to each other. She used to really, really like him. She just found him super attractive, and obviously he found her super attractive. So she was dead open to getting to know this guy. And one day this guy ended up getting the balls up to speak to her, right? And he came across and they went away to kind of speak to each other for a little bit. And within 5 minutes, she came back and she was repulsed. And she never spoke to that guy ever again. And I was like, what happened, right? And basically what happened is this guy finally got the balls up to speak to her. And rather than just being a normal human being and not giving off any red flags, he immediately asked her her name and then asked her if she wanted to go home with him, right? So he immediately was trying to close the deal, even though she liked him. And the thing is, you still need to warm people up. Most people who are open to your type of service, you know, whatever it is, SMMA, whether you're consulting, they still need to have a natural conversation to know you're not a weird human being, a scammer, to know that you actually have their best interests in heart. And I give these dating analogies because it's the same thing, right? Or they'll be put off from you forever. So when you go over to them or, you know, speak to them or sending them a DM, try your best not to shoot them an instant salesy, spammy pitch straight away, because what's going to happen is they're going to have the same reaction as this girl who is in my group who actually was looking for a guy like this. Both of them were 10s, right? They're actually looking for a guy like this, and then was massively put off by him because she thought that he was interested in only one thing, and it sounded like he was interested in only one thing. You don't want to be the person in business who's coming off, who's only interested in getting money in your bank account. You need to be the person who's building trust and basically being like, hey, you know, I would love to work with you on this. I understand your problems. I want to get you the best result as well. It's the same sort of conversation, but a different frame on it.
You need to like warm people up and actually be genuinely interested in what they're saying. And this is how you diffuse the people who maybe become like unresponsive, or diffuse the people who might be a little bit rude to you in Messenger. It very, 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 very rarely happens if you do it correctly, because people respect people who respect them. It's in the book Influence, Robert Cialdini, and it's the people reciprocating to each other. It's a good chapter to read on this. So perfectly nice message, a little bit upbeat as well. I've put like, thanks for connecting, nice to meet you, exclamation mark. Hello, Rob. I hope you are well. Simply put, coaching is a creative partnership. The topics could be related to blah, blah, blah. I am open to coaching all, but have had lots of experience coaching executives in my past. Now, what do we notice about Andrew's message? I'll tell you what we notice. It's a long message. He has told me exactly what it is he does. He's obviously quite open to speaking with me, right? He's not sent me a one-word answer. So what does this mean? This means he's completely open to conversation. So I'm going to proceed forward here. And because he's so open, I'm actually probably going to try and book a call a little bit quicker with him than I typically would. So let's have a look how it goes. That sounds amazing. Very challenging, I imagine, but very fulfilling. I always find speaking with different coaches and learning about what they do very interesting. Are you using LinkedIn to market yourselves and your services at the moment? It's a great place to get more clients. So there's a lot of things going on in this message. First of all, I know, because of my niche research, this is why it's so important you have it with you, that people who work in the executive/career coaching niche, they basically, it is a challenging role they do, but ultimately they do it because they find it so fulfilling, right? You know, there's other niches out there which don't have that, and they don't find that as well. So this is me getting into their customers, into my clients' heads, into my ideal clients' heads. Once I can put something like that, they know I understand them, right? And I do understand them because I help people like this. I always find speaking with different coaches and learning about what they do very interesting. This is true as well because I speak to a lot of different coaches like this, or at least that was my kind of target market back then. Now, because he's gave me a larger message here, I've pivoted quite early. You know, I've just went straight in for it. It's a soft pivot. I'm not asking what his goals are. I'm not asking what his income is, anything silly like that. I am asking something about LinkedIn, which is kind of on the fringe related to what I do. Right? Are you using LinkedIn to market yourself and your services at the moment? It's a great place to get more clients.
So people always find this bit super difficult. They either go too salesy, too spammy, like Exhibit A, Mr. Clown Man, who came over to the girl in my group and asked her to go home with him, or they slip into the friend zone of never actually saying what their intentions are. And it's difficult, right? Because you want to try and come across as though you're not salesy, but the problem is, it's like, where do you draw that line? So what you can see I'm doing here is I'm softly pivoting the conversation a little bit so we could talk about my service, right? And how I can help him. So I'm throwing a hook out there. It's only soft. I'm not saying you look like you need clients, I can sign you up with blah, 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 blah. I'm saying, hey, you know, acknowledging what they're saying, and then I'm dropping a hook in there, which is, are you using this platform at the moment to get more clients? And it's soft, so people, like, they respect that I'm respecting their boundaries. And it's almost a temperature test to see if I can take this conversation in this direction. And if I can't, then I'll do something to maybe bring it back later. Maybe some more trust needs being built. But in the meantime, I'm just testing the waters.
Yup, in the process of just doing that, I found coaching is a way for me to give back in appreciation of the coaching I've received. All right, so a lot of people get to this message here and think, where do I go from here? Well, I'll tell you where I go from here is he has actually told me that he is in the process of using LinkedIn to market himself at the moment. Now, the amazing thing about something like this is at all times in the conversation, I'm just starting the conversation, I'm building rapport, and then I'm looking for a need, right? I'm looking for some sort of need. And the need could appear in a few different ways. A person could accidentally tell me their goals. They could accidentally tell me there's something they're struggling with. They could, also say something about like, this is what I'm currently doing at the moment. They might even say like a pain point, it's been very tough, blah, 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 blah. And when they do something like that, I know I have like an opening to tell them more about my service, right? Because it's an opening, right? I'm not knocking the door down. The door's like slightly ajar. So then I've said to him, good to know you're in the process of using LinkedIn to market your services. It's ideal for finding clients, particularly in your niche. I actually specialize in helping coaches get more clients on a regular basis through LinkedIn without spending money on advertising, so they can concentrate on helping more people without having to worry about where their next client will come from. Just curious, is this something that is relevant to you? Okay, so because I've pivoted early here and he's replied with a little bit less of a message. You see this one here? There's a lot of like writing. This one's a little bit less. I've noticed that. This is the subtle psychology that you can see in messaging. And because I've noticed that, I might have pivoted a little bit too early and I might have made him uncomfortable. So what I've done is I've went in, rather than saying, let's jump on a call together, which sometimes you have to grab the bull by the horns and you have to do this. I've written, is this something that is relevant to you? I've went in like softer. So, and also I just want to note here as well, like myself right now, looking back at this in 2020, halfway through 2020, I think this bit here where I've introduced what I offer, I think it's a bit too long. I think I could have cut like a line or two out of that and made it more, precise, because some people get bored of reading things. So that's if I had to go back and change this message. But overall, I want you to notice that I think I've made a mistake there, but it still worked, right? So let's look next. I've asked him if this is relevant to him, and he says, probably should be, Rob. I'm based in Toronto. If you give me some dates/times that you are available for a quick call, I have set up I'll set up a Zoom meeting. Okay. Some people prefer Zoom meetings. Some people want to be in charge of like the calendar. I take that kind of decision away from them. I just say, I could give you a quick call over the phone, Andy. Have a look at my calendar and book a time that suits you. He's like, great, I've picked the time on Friday. I'm like, thanks, Andy. And he's like, do you have Zoom or do you want something else? I'm just like, thanks, Andy. Yeah, I'll just give you a call on the number you provided. He's like, talk soon. Okay. And then my automated system here, it gives them a reminder the day before that our call is due. And it gives them a reminder an hour before as well. That's how like my Calendly is set up. So that's that there. Now let's just count this, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 messages kind of before I got the call booked, right? So first message was a message just to introduce myself and also, to break the ice. Second message, right? I am commenting, building a little bit of rapport, telling him a little bit about, like, I'm starting to pivot the call a little bit into a way I can start to position my service. Third, I'm making the offer. Now, sometimes you have to spend a little bit longer in the rapport stage here, just because maybe the person isn't as open as this. But basically, Andy's jumped on a call with me here. Okay, so let's look at the next one. It doesn't need to be too long. People, the problem is with like messaging on LinkedIn is people get trapped in they end up in this like weird zone where they basically like pitch the person straight away. They come in way too aggressive, or they get friend zoned. And exactly the same thing happens in the dating world as well. So I always go back to like dating analogies because basically it's the same thing. It's just like making people comfortable, making them trust, like allowing them to trust you, building up rapport with them. It's the same thing, but not being too aggressive and also not ending up in the friend zone as well. All right, so let's move on to the next person. We've got Michelle here. I've actually went in with the same message here, although I do change it up from time to time. I want to show you just how easy you can like kind of copy and paste an approach to different people. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for connecting. Nice to meet you. I've just noticed that you are a coach. Just curious, what does that involve? Who is it you help? Hi, Rob. Thanks for reaching out. Right now, coaching for me looks like an individual, blah, blah, blah. Right now, with a little travel happening, my clients are diverse and bring a range of topics. Again, I've went straight in with a pivot here because I looked at the message. I was like, this person actually really, really, they're obviously like want to speak to me, and they've probably checked out my LinkedIn profile. They've probably seen that, other people have spoken to me in like the recommendations, the testimonial section, and they can understand as well that I'm probably quite a likable guy. And that's just like one of the switches that happens in your head, why you need like testimonials and things in your profile. So if you haven't watched the training on creating your LinkedIn profile, go back and watch that now.
All right, so I said then go back and watch the training. So this clip is actually taken from a training program I used to sell to different businesses. So you won't be able to go and do that. I have on my YouTube got a setting up a LinkedIn profile walkthrough basically, but I'm just gonna give you the too long didn't read version here. On my LinkedIn profile, I have in the review section, I have reviews about me and about my service. Some are about what type of character I am and that I'm a good guy and I help people through and through. And these are independent people who gave me reviews on my LinkedIn profile, who you can click through and see they're real people, right? So when you're approaching people, right, they're going to be questioning if you are the real deal or if you are basically a scammer, right? Or not a real person. It's the same thing in real life. If you go and knock on someone's door, they're like immediately a little bit distrusting. They're not going to be instantly trusting. They're like, why is this guy showing up on my door? If you go and talk to somebody of the opposite sex in a bar, right? We go and talk to a girl in a bar, and you are out on your own, right? Just picture this. You're out on your own. You don't have any friends, and then you go up and randomly talk to a girl. What's she going to think? Even if you're good looking, what's she going to think? She's going to think, this guy might be weird, right? He might be a clown, right? I don't know why I keep saying clown. I think that's a brilliant word. Anyway, if you are out with the giant group of people, guys and girls, what are they, and you're the same person, and you go and approach them, what are they going to think? Well, they're going to think, well, it looks like they're having a great time together. I can see there's other women in the group, so I can see that they're probably not a weirdo, right? Because he's interacting with other women and they're obviously comfortable around him. The same thing works with clients and having people write you reviews and showcasing those reviews on, whether you're using Facebook, whether you're using LinkedIn, whether you're using Instagram, whatever. So they can see that other people who are like them are either had a good experience with you or got some sort of result from you. Make sure you've got that on there. It is a key lever. If you haven't got any results or haven't got any client results or anything like this, you can actually do a little bit of free work, maybe an hour or so consulting for different people and get your testimonials in that way and say, hey, I would like to help you. I'd like to help you for free. I'm trying to build myself up at the moment. Would you mind me helping you for free, either writing out some strategy for you, and then you giving me a testimonial as a result? It's very, very easy to do because you need the social proof because, and particularly in like 2023 where people just make up social proof, right? Like, people are very on edge now to who they're doing business with and, who is actually the real deal, right? So make sure you got something like that on your profile.
Now, again, I knew my niche very well here. Challenging, but so worth it indeed. I'm behind the game on LinkedIn and really just started through connections I already have. In the near future, we'll love to use this as a way to get more clients. All right, so great pain point here, but can we see a little hook I've dropped into the conversation here? Well, that sounds amazing, very challenging, I imagine, but very fulfilling. A lot of other coaches / consultants are having to switch up their game too in the current situation. So she knows I've been speaking to other people, and it gives her an opportunity to also talk about like maybe she's struggling as well, which is exactly what she said, which is it's worked. She's asked me a little bit more. She still wants to build rapport. Some people still want to build rapport. I'm like, that's good to hear. I actually specialize in blah, 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 give my offer. Just curious, what type of issues are you helping them solve? I might be able to help you find more of the clients. So again, I've recognized that she probably needs to build up a little bit of more rapport. So I have also attempted to, come back with a bit more rapport. Notice I didn't pitch then, right? Because I thought I'd probably lose this person. Sometimes you pitch again, if you pitch and like they're still in like the rapport building mode, it's not going to go anywhere anyway. That's what I've generally found. That sounds incredible and very useful, especially at most meetings and connections are virtual right now. My focus in the past year has been helping blah, 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 working. And like, it sounds like you help people from lots of walks of life. It's a learning experience for you too. Every time you help someone from a new cultural background, can you set up a quick call with us? I can set up a quick 10-minute call to hear a little bit more about your business and ask a few more questions to see if I can help you if you like. So pay attention to how I'm going in with the pitch. Quick call. I'm not saying it's a long time consuming 45-minute call. I'm saying it's a quick call. It's very, very, like I'm trying to break the ice. It's a very, very small amount of time, which is going to be needed to actually, jump on a call with me. Like I'm not expecting them all day, right? Because the first thing people think of this person wants to jump on a call with me, they think, where is the exit sign in the room? And that's something I want you to remember. They think, where is the exit sign in the room? And like, if you say it's a quick call, look, it's called 15 minutes. I've said 10 minutes there. They know it's going to be roughly about 10 to 15 minutes, right? So they don't think in their head, how long is this person going to keep me on the phone? Right. Simple kind of like psychology. I also put here, it's what I typically do. So I wrote, it's what I typically do. And the reason why I wrote that is because to let Michelle know that this is a typical, usual process and not to be afraid, because I'm still not sure where the trust level is here. So she replies, I'd be interested in a call to hear about more of what you do. I looked at your calendar. I had no availability then. I was booking like a lot of calls, so like zero availability. I didn't know this. I wanted to manually book this call, because sometimes what can happen if you say, I want to think about this, or, I'll get back to you when my calendar's a little bit less busy. The iron goes cold. You've got to strike when the iron's hot. And you generally want to book a person within 3 to 4 days of actually speaking with them, because the iron starts to go cold then. And then you start, your flake rates go up, like the people who you thought were actually going to have a call with you, like they don't turn up for calls and things like this, or they cancel last minute. Great, thank you. I just signed up for 1 p.m. on Monday. Looking forward to connecting. Great. Looking forward to speaking to. So we could see these are both quite easy conversations to have with people. One was a lot shorter, right? The trust was there, the rapport was there. This other person here, they had a little bit more trust was needed, a little bit more rapport was needed to actually jump on this call with me. And both of them ended up going over to a call, and it was just very simple. Like, these were tailored messages. So the big takeaways from this as well is do something to break the ice. Just speak with the person. You don't need to pitch. You don't need to, turn up and like aggressively say this, or get friend zone and let the conversation go on too long. Remember that we don't want to scare the person off, but we also want to make sure we have a call to action with the person. And if the conversation's going okay, we need to be straight in there with our offer. This is what we do. Are you interested in this? And then once they say they are, then you can say, look, why don't we jump on a call? It only makes sense to. Do you see how natural this conversation is? Every part about it is like, it's over the shoulder. I just noticed you were an executive/career coach. What does that involve? Who is it you help? It's so casual. And they're like, oh, yeah, I do this, I do this, I do this. I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. Are you actually using LinkedIn to market yourself and services at the moment? It's like an afterthought almost, right? And because I'm approaching like this, people are very comfortable with it. And then like I go for I've went for the pivot, obviously. Then again, I'm checking to see if like rapport needs still building up. And then I go for the pitch and the offer to the call. And that is all of it for that section there. So I hope you really enjoyed that. I'm going to go through some more difficult scenarios next. So stay tuned for that.
Now, I'm trying to make this the most valuable content on DMing on YouTube. And I'm trying to do it because I think there's so much bad information out there. But the thing is when I release a video which is kind of as detailed as this and has a deep dive, the watch time isn't very good on it. And the watch time isn't very good is because I already know that people kind of watch it and then they think, you know what, I'll come back to this later. And then they never come back to it. You could read 10,000 books, but the book which is going to change your life the most is the one that you've actually implemented. So I want you, here's my challenge to you. I want you to go through this video, revisit all the areas, copy the scripts or adjust it just for yourself. Note what I'm saying about the changes in trust, the psychology behind what I'm saying. When I'm pulling back, when I'm going forward, when I'm asking for the close, when I'm trying not to be like Clown 300, who's the guy who's trying to get the girl on the date, right? I want you to pay attention to these things because it will help you. But you have to help yourself. You have to watch this stuff. And a lot of people out there, a lot of the influencers at the moment, they're selling this idea that things are very, very easy to make money. If it was very, very easy to make money, everyone would be doing it, right? But not everyone's doing it. In fact, most people are struggling to do it. But this is a walkthrough. This is literally me showing you how to get people who are complete strangers onto calls. Please, please, please pay attention. Your future is literally resting on this. You need to go through this video again and again and again and again until these principles become unconscious, so they seep down into your unconscious brain. Okay. Leave me a comment below, tell me what you think. Ask me questions if you like. I'll do my best to reply back. If you have other topics you want me to talk about as well, let me know in your comments. I hope you find this video valuable. It should be valuable to you. Take care. See you in the next one.